Maren Freedman is a returning guest on our show. We've done several shows with her, and she's back. She was an L. Ron Hubbard trained Class VIII Auditor Counselor back in the 60s and 70s, and she left the actual organized church in the early to mid 80s, 83, 84, and she went out into the field and has been delivering Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard's technology, away from the church as an independent Scientologist ever since. She's here to talk about her ethics program that she put together using L. Ron Hubbard's ethics technology and how it helps people. And we're going to discuss that with her here on this program. I think you're going to find it interesting and hopefully entertaining. Here comes Maren Freedman. Welcome, everybody, to our channel, Scientology Peeling the Onion. My name's Mark Fisher, and I'm here with Janis Gillham Grady. How you doing today, Janis?
Good, Mark. Good day, everyone, and welcome to Peeling the Onion. And what's today, Mark? Why are we dressed like this?
Well, tomorrow is the 250th anniversary of our country, the United States of America, and so we thought we would wear some appropriate clothing for that celebration. And I got this Hawaiian shirt here that I've ordered and got it in. It's like an American flag, and you're wearing your USA tank top.
Yeah, I'm ready for a workout. This is I'm sorry, everyone, but this is what I wear for workouts.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to say, I wanted to tell a little story about 4th of July, because this is the 250th anniversary. 50 years ago, 1976 was the bicentennial. It was the 200th anniversary of the United States of America. And I had just graduated high school like 3 weeks before that. And then I continued to work as a lifeguard until after 4th of July, 1976. And then I was going to Clearwater to join the Sea Org for the first time. So 50 years ago on 4th of July, I remember my family and all went down to the Washington Monument, because I'm from Washington, D.C. They went down to see the fireworks show and all that live. And I had to work as a lifeguard. I was trying to earn some last minute money before I joined the Sea Org. And I joined the Sea Org, like July 7th, I flew down to Clearwater for the first time. And that's when I first met David Miscavige, who was 16 years old. We were roommates. He had just joined about a month before. As soon as he finished his school year, he dropped out. And the rest is history, as they say.
Right. Yeah, he dropped out at 16 and joined the Sea Org in the end of April. Yeah,
and I graduated. So anyway, but he was funny because I showed him my diploma and I had all that. He goes, you're probably the only person here on the 9th floor where the messengers are who ever graduated high school.
That's probably true.
Anyway, so that was my little story about 4th of July 50 years ago. Unbelievable.
Wow.
But
time
flies.
Lot of water under that bridge.
Absolutely. Absolutely there is. But anyway, we are happy to have everybody here. And Janis, why don't you go ahead and tell us about our guest, a returning guest today, and then we'll start the show.
Returning guest. We got Maren Freedman, and she's always fun to talk to, has different stories, and she's been around a long, long time, longer than me. No, actually, I was born into it, but she's been on staff longer than me.
That's right. And she's been an independent Scientologist since 1983 or 84, and she still delivers Scientology auditing from where she lives remotely and stuff. So anyway, but she wants to talk to us about a special program she has, right?
Yeah, that was very successful when she was practicing in Scientology and while practicing outside. All right, so let's bring on Mary.
Hello,
Hi.
Mary. Happy 4th of July.
Yes, happy birthday, happy anniversary of the country, and happy day.
Yeah, and you got your red, white, and blue on and joining Janis and me, and we appreciate that.
Yes, we're all here. We're all together. That's great. I love it.
Patriots. Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Mary, how you been? We haven't done an interview with you a little bit. How's business? How are you doing up there?
Yeah, things are going fine. I have some people coming up here from South Africa that's going to come for auditing in person because that particular gal doesn't like to be online. She likes to be in person. Some people do prefer that. And I have another gal coming up from Texas, and she's sort of the same way. She likes to be in person. And a lot of people that I do online, it's sort of like they're in the same room with me anyway. So it works either way.
That's right. It's really, really wild to me that basically you can actually process or counsel somebody, audit them, on the internet, you know what I mean, with a meter, and you get the same results and the same thing as if they were sitting there across from you, right?
Yeah, well, it's the theta meter. I mean, it turns your laptop or whatever you're using into an e-meter. It's fantastic.
And I don't think the official church uses that because that was actually discovered by
Mikhail
in Moscow.
Yeah,
he's now in Egypt, but it's a great invention that is more advanced than the official Church of Scientology because they've got their e-meter.
Yes, exactly, and it's much less expensive.
I was going to ask, does he sell it, or is it a program, or what does he do?
Yeah, there's a guy here in the States that is kind of like an extension of that whole arrangement with Mikhail, and he provides theta meters here in this country, and you can also get them direct from Mikhail, wherever he may be, and they give you a little bit of a walkthrough on it, on how to hook it. It's just you can hold the can. The can is the meter. The software is in the can.
Yeah.
You just plug it in, or you Bluetooth it into your computer. It's just so easy. And the whole thing becomes a meter, and the person, and then you could be on FaceTime, or you can be on Zoom with the person, and you're directly in comm, and they're on the screen, so it's like you're with them. And sometimes I like to get the meter pulled up on my phone, so I put the phone over here, and that's like having the meter right in front of the person. It really works well. I think Ron would have been delighted with it.
Mary, I have to ask you a question. Did you get an instant read?
You
don't get that? Remember those meter drills? Did you get an instant read?
Yeah,
yes. You know what I mean? Did you get an instant read? Yes.
I remember it well. Yes. All the e-meter drills. Well, this works. You get the instant reads, you get all the stuff, you get total tone arm, you get all kinds of things differentiated. It really works well.
Yeah. You were going to talk to us about the ethics program you developed, that you used when you were in the Church of Scientology, and then carried on with it. So why don't you go ahead and give the background and go forward?
Yeah. I feel that it's the most important contribution that I made to the church from me developing something off of everything I learned from Ron, everything I learned from LRH on the conditions and on the tech and all the things that work well in an ethics, an ethics situation, which the church didn't exactly apply the way I apply it, because I made an acronym out of the word ethics, which is embracing truth, honor, and integrity for conscious survival, ETHICS. Right. And that's the purpose, is truth, honor, and integrity, to embrace that, to envelop that, to incorporate it into your universe, that it's coming from you as a being, and it's natural. It's a natural inclination of a Thetan to be ethical, actually, because create undercuts, it comes before destroy. Destroy is a later postulate than create. So create is more basic. And that's why a being is basically good, because he was originating things on a creative level, an intention, rather than trying to destroy it or make nothing of it, or, do away with it. Now, sometimes things turn into negativity because of counter intention coming from you or others. And then you have to shift around and change it, or maybe get rid of it and put something else in place. But the basic intention is to reinforce your creativity. That's why a Thetan is basically good, because you got to put it there before you can take it down.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
so how do you go about doing that?
Well, the way that works is, back in the 70s, I noticed that a bunch of my friends that were OTs had gone upper level. weren't necessarily holding on to their gains very well. They were running into all kinds of stops and problems and situations, and it was kind of rocky with the church being on and off in terms of really applying the subject in an optimal way or applying it in a negative way, which did occur at times, which I've talked about. But basically, these beings around me, my friends, and they were my friends and colleagues, needed something to be done. And I figured, well, if tech isn't going out, ethics must be out. So let's work with ethics.
Let me ask you, for our viewers who were never in Scientology or anything, please explain to them what ethics was and how that could negatively affect someone's counseling or processing, you know, if they had an ethics, or what an ethics situation would be.
Yeah, well, ethics has to do with morality in its intrinsic form, which is sort of the natural state of someone that evaluates goodness versus badness, rather than rightness versus wrongness. Right and wrong is more morals, mores, the acceptable behavior that you do. And ethics is more of a what contributes to a higher level of existence and survival and benefit. So good and bad is sort of higher than right and wrong. And so that was a differentiation. And let's see, I was taking people through the ethics materials and my program, which I developed over the first few years of doing this and petitioning L. Ron Hubbard and the whole story, which I want to tell you as well. But you progress with, first thing you do is you do the definitions. I put this all on my hat right up to Ron. You define the terms that apply to ethics as a subject, starting, right. and then you some of the definitions, like survive, is in the dictionary, the tech dictionary, and you orient it, you apply it in some ways that are not necessarily exactly just pure tech. You apply it like, you know, to continue existence. Well, that's nice. Survive means continuing to exist. That's obvious. But survive on another level means to kind of expand, to keep moving forward. Like normal operation involves an upward incline. It isn't just a static line. So you want to improve, you want to expand, you want to develop things, and you want to produce. And that's the direction that we're going. So the conditions would start all the way down to confusion, or even below. I found a condition below confusion, which is delusion. But you can't run a person on that. They have to pull it in. They have to experience falling on the formula for delusion is fall on your head, because they think they're in a very high condition. So the only way they can come up to confusion is to recognize that there's something wrong. They're not right. But anyway, that's just an aside. So,
hey, but Mary, I want to ask you, but explain to our viewers that what an out ethics situation or condition would be, and how that would stop somebody from making progress in their auditing or in their counseling. For instance, if somebody was like cheating on their wife all the time or whatever,
yes,
that was something that could then block them when you're trying to handle them, right?
Yeah, you just sort of gave a good example there. Cheating on anything, being dishonest, lying to people, right. Deluding people, stealing from people, pretending that you're helping when you're really destroying. And it comes from a kind of a substitute beingness. It isn't the true self occupying that position. It's a continuous harmful acts. That is a very major manifestation of out ethics. A person is continuing to do something because they think it's right. They think it's valuable. They think that's the way you're supposed to do things. They don't have any question about it. And maybe they do. They might have a doubt. Something doesn't feel right. But it's the only thing they can think of to continue to cheat or to continue to hurt people in some way.
Right.
Because now, Mary, I have a question. What do you do with someone where their ethnic belief, their traditions or whatever is acceptable in their country to an American or an Englishman or something what they do, such as bribery, is considered out ethics in another in our countries or our culture. But in a different culture, bribery might be the way of life, and it's not considered to be wrong.
Yeah, well, that crosses the line over from ethics to morals and what is acceptable behavior socially. And there are some customs that are traditional in different countries, like cutting off somebody's hand if they steal something. That's a custom that they use as a punishment. If you dig down deep enough, you might find that there is a basic sense of disagreement with that it's an overkill, that it's not necessarily. People will suppress their feelings about this because they're living in a society that makes it not okay to disagree,
Right.
So disagreement becomes an overt or harmful act in those societies. So that's morals, which is lower down than a higher sense of what is good, what is survival, what contributes to flourishing and prospering for everyone, not just for one part of the society, and lower parts don't get to enjoy that, like women or something like that. It's up to, and so whole countries can be in a low condition because of that. A whole country or a whole part of the human civilization could be in a very low condition because they're violating those basic principles.
So you had people that were getting counseling then that were exhibiting, they weren't retaining their gains, like you said, through their processing, because they were continually doing things that were out ethics or unethical, right? So that's where you came up with this program. Is that right?
Well, continuous overt is one manifestation. It's very obvious. It's right on the surface, but there's other manifestations of out ethics, which is self-denial and constant self-invalidation, trying to play victim all the time to get away with stuff, being sneaky. I mean, it isn't just one obvious thing of, bopping somebody over the head all the time. That would be too obvious, and they would be in jail or they'd be in trouble or nobody would talk to them. So they have to do things in a roundabout way. And it's a compulsion to stay in control, to stay in charge, to stay on top of every situation as much as possible, which is a compulsion, because there's lots of times where it's not that big of a deal if you're not the top person on the hill. You might be second in command or you might be at the end of the line, but you're learning something. But there are people that have such big egos that they can't let go of the compulsion to be absolutely the top winner. And that is your worst ethics case, because they're mostly in delusion. They cannot you can't get tech in on them. You can't audit them. You can't help them. So you do ethics. Then you can't get their ethics in because they're in too high of a condition in their own world. So then you have to use justice. Justice is there to get ethics in. Ethics is there to get tech in.
So you just described David Miscavige to a T.
Thank you. Yes. And
that's right.
I'm being serious. It's funny, but I mean, you just did.
He's above ethics.
He will not get his own ethics in, and he does not get processing or auditing. And so he never makes any gain.
Yeah.
And his ego's so big that he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of like holding on to your ego at all costs. There's a cartoon that I have that I could send to you of a guy hanging on a cliff holding up to a twig. And there's a guy at the top of the cliff reaching down with his hand, but the other hand, he can't let go of the twig, and he's holding his ego in the other hand in a big bag, like a big rock inside a bag. And you have to let it go. You have to let that go. So it's a funny cartoon, but it really works. But anyway, so people get stuck in these must be at the top. And I think McSavage, I call him McSavage, is a good example of that. And it corresponds to the psychological term, which is sociopathic. It has no conscience, no empathy, no remorse, no, what is the other word? It's there's just no conscience. It doesn't regret anything. It's just knows that it has to do what it has to do to get the job done, because I have to win and everybody else has to follow me. It's a first dynamic, totally first dynamic. It doesn't include the rest of the aspects of life other than self.
Yeah.
The other aspects of life are just there to serve you. I actually call it playing God.
Yeah.
That's what I call it, playing God.
Yeah.
And you can't play God. God in itself is a no games condition. So you can't even use the two words in the same sentence, play God. Can't do it. Unless you're doing a play, like just a kind of a little creative demonstration of somebody playing the role. But that's different than playing God in life. So that's the enemy.
Let me ask you, so
condition.
what was your program like? What were the steps
Well,
that you have? Let's say you were handling me. What would you be having me do?
Well, I would clear all the words with you that we're going to be working with. And then I would have you describe your situation that corresponds to out ethics, which is his own concept of his own ethics is not adequate to his survival. That is the definition of out ethics in the dictionary, the tech dictionary or the admin, I forget which one. His own concept of his own ethics is not adequate to his survival. So he thinks he's just wonderful and his stats suck. So there's a discrepancy. So I get them to look at these situations that they have around them. If they're down below confusion, I tell them to go follow their indicators. I can't help them in their delusion. They're going to fall on their head and then they might come back. But other than that, I have them look at, the overall situation that they're concerned about, that they're stuck in, it's ruining their life, that keeps repeating. And then we look at the conditions and we describe each condition. And I clear the conditions and they go from confusion, treason, enemy, doubt, liability. And then there's
normal.
One in between. There's one
non-existence, normal.
Yeah, but there's one in between non-E and
doubt.
Emergency.
No. It's a kind of different.
Normal,
word.
emergency, danger, non-existence, liability, doubt, enemy, treason, confusion.
Yeah, but there's a crossover one, which is being able to employ the things that you learned into the positive conditions, which going up start at non-existence, which I call new beginnings for going up the conditions. Coming down the conditions, it falls down into non-existence.
Right. And for our viewers, Janis just listed out the names of the conditions from high to low. And you know what I mean? And this is
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I said normal. Hubbard. There's affluence and power above normal.
Power above that. But it's basically just there's formulas that Hubbard wrote to actually take you from one condition to get you to the next one, to then get you to the next one, to move you from a low condition up to a higher condition. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about conditions. What condition you're in? Oh, I'm normal. Everything's good. Things are going fine. Oh, no, I'm in affluence. Boy, everything's fantastic. You know what I mean? It's just where are you at in your life is what she's talking about. And it can change on a day-to-day basis or hour by hour.
It could be what condition you're in with yourself, with your spouse or your children or your group, your work.
Or your job, your work.
Your gym, whatever. It's like there's various different conditions for different situations or existences.
Yeah. And then if you have a lower condition, like if you're like cheating on your wife and so you're in liability to your wife or you have a dangerous situation or whatever, what Mary's saying is that can block you from getting the spiritual gains that you're looking for in your counseling because you're constantly doing these things on the side. And you basically inside you're thinking, oh, I'm a bad person because I keep doing this. But you're on the outside, you're going like, oh, no, everything's fine. So the idea is to get somebody to confront that situation and take control over it. Am I right, Mary?
Absolutely right. That's exactly how it works. And I remember now the crossover condition between liability and non-existence is safe point. Find. It's in the PR series, I believe. And Yvonne, your mother, actually used that safe point. She used that as a condition for Celebrity Center. and for, using it as a condition generally, because you have to find and establish a safe point from which to communicate. And then you can do non-existence, which is find calm lines, make yourself known, find out what you don't want, communicate, right? But
so an example of a safe point would be a new job that you got. I'm now the housekeeper. That's a safe point for your work, right? And then you try and get out of non-existence in that condition, in that position, that safe point.
Yes, and if you're opening a business, a desk with a telephone, and a computer is a safe point from which to communicate, because you can't do it just riding around on your bicycle.
Right.
Got it.
It's not the same. You have to have a safe point. So it's kind of a physical universe point, but it's also a knowledge point. Like, how am I going to establish my communication lines? How am I going to get this message out? Am I going to put some ads in the paper? What am I going to do to get out of non-existence? It's a safe point, something you feel secure that you can do. So that is the crossover, and it is a condition, and it, I believe, is in the PR series.
Okay.
And
so you get somebody to look over the condition or whatever the situation is that's out ethics or whatever, and you're getting them to confront that. And I would imagine you have to have somebody willing to look, right? In other words, like you said, if they're delusional, like going like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, you're never going to make any change, right?
Yeah, but those people don't need ethics handling. They're doing too well. They don't need it. They are the most ethical people in the world are in delusion.
Right. Delusional, big ego, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't worry about those people. They don't want to come to me and get services from me that they don't need.
So would you just take the person then through the different conditions for whatever the situation was that was going on with them? And then at that point.
No, I find the condition that has persisted the longest, that goes all the way back in their life. It's a repeat pattern. And they overcome it. They apply emergency, they apply danger, they apply liability, but it comes back. That hit confusion a long time ago because they never applied the right condition. So I always start at confusion, always, on that long-term situation.
So then you get them through the conditions on that situation up to a point where they're basically at cause over it or whatever, and like it's no longer affecting them. Is that?
Yes,
and that was your program, right?
As they go up the conditions with this situation and finding out all the things that contributed to it and how they brought it about and how they were reasonable and allowed it, other situations that are related on other dynamics or other parts of their life jump on like an elevator ride. Yeah. So there might be something in liability that joins the fun here and continues on up the conditions along with the original situation.
Right, like some situation with their children, for example, or whatever. Could be whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So there might be several.
Why would Scientology have a problem with you doing that? Is it just a misunderstanding from their point of view? Why did they consider that this was out tech or whatever,
They wanted the money. It's
because you were doing it outside. You were a field auditor, right? Yeah, you were doing it outside.
Ethics wanted to deliver the service, and they want if it was a program, then they expected payment for it. So it was money, it was control, it was prestige, it was having the credit for helping people, and it was getting people back on lines who had blown that they couldn't get back. And I got them back. I got them back on lines onto their next service. The orgs won, the person won, and I won. It was win-win-win. The org couldn't stand that. They wanted to be God.
Right. Now you've told us before that you then took this to Hubbard to get him to okay it, right? And just briefly go over that again. What happened? Because you went through Liz Gablehouse, right? Yeah.
Yes, Liz told. I went to Flag from LA, my first time going to Flag, and I put together my success stories and a CSW petition to L. Ron Hubbard to be able to continue without all this harassment. And I went, and Liz was there. She was LRH personal PRO, And I said, I have this petition. I'd like you to deliver it to LRH and see if he'll approve it for me to continue delivering and training others to deliver my program, because I had too much of a demand and I couldn't fill it. So she said, yeah, I'll take it to him. So she did. And she came back about a week later. I was out at the pool at the Fort Harrison with my friends. And she ran over to me. She said, Maren, don't ever lose your balls.
That's Lizzie.
Because he approved it?
And so he approved it. So then I said, you mean I can hat people on what this program is? She says, yes, go ahead and hat. So I did it around the swimming pool at the Fort Harrison. A little bit more easygoing, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's how it started. And everybody wanted it in LA. They all were calling me. I was in the theater at the time because there was a theater company that was started by a Class VIII named Terrence Shank. He was the artistic director, and he started a whole theater company. So I was part of that, and I was the ethics officer for that company. And that's a whole other bunch of stories, that hilarious things that happened in that theater company. But anyway, as far as the ethics thing goes, I was just running back and forth, doing people right here, you know, right, left, and center, whoever was needing some kind of a boost, basically. And it wasn't that they weren't doing okay. They were doing okay. They were doing well. But there was one area that was persisting and knocking them over the head and causing them trouble. And that's why they came to me to get that fixed. So that's what I was doing. Because tech wasn't going in. Tech was not going in that area. Other stuff.
And just so our viewers understand, you were delivering Scientology auditing out in the field, and also, you know what I mean, you were dealing with these people away from the organized church, right, at that time?
I was delivering in the Church of Scientology in the field. I was in good standing.
Right. No, exactly. In other words, you weren't in like an organization doing this, and that's why they're going like, hey, you're taking money away from us because you're doing this in the field rather than having them do it in the org.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Your PCs would be people that you got into Scientology, not people who would already be in the org or sent to the org.
No, they were already in. They were losing their gains. They were going PTS.
They were coming to hurt us for help.
Okay, so you were basically doing ARC break cleanup at the field to recover them.
Well, I was doing regular auditing from the grades on up. I was doing reviews on OTs and friends of mine that were in trouble or needed a boost. And when I started doing them on the ethics thing, it just kind of expanded from there. And other people came to me who weren't even my clients. And
they heard about it. They heard about it. Organized Scientology Guardian's Office. Hey, all these people are going to Maren out in the field. We need to handle her. And that's when they sent Artie, your husband or your former husband.
Yeah.
Was he farmer or was he still your husband then?
We were still married, but we were separated. Mm-hmm.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. See, if I was running the org and Mary was there auditing people who had been in my org on services getting audited, I'd be going, wait a minute. This is a ripoff of my org's PCs.
Yeah, well, some of them were not, they were already back to flag. They had gone to flag and done upper levels and came back. They were OTs. And
but they were out in the field not doing anything. Right.
Some of them were blown inactive and not doing anything. And I got them back on the bridge onto their next action in the org that they blew from.
And that's what was one of the crazy ideas, Janis, I think, was the fact that, somebody needs help and somebody helps them out in the field. Oh, you can't do that. They're ours. You know what I mean? Like the organization gets on them. It's stupid.
They won't
I mean, the whole idea was to get them back, and rolling. And
I would have hired Mary as the ARC break auditor with her job to be and go and recover these people for me.
Well, tell people what an ARC break auditor is, Janis. I mean, they won't want to know what that is.
Yeah, ARC is affinity reality communication, and then the break is that there's the affinity or the reality or communication's been broken somewhere. So it's like you have an upset. So you have a ARC broken field means that the org has a lot of public out there that have upsets with the org and are not coming in for services. So per the policy, they should be sending auditors out to the field to give ARC break sessions to clean people up and find out why they're not on services and bring them back in.
Yeah, that's a good thing. The only thing
Right.
is that they didn't necessarily get a full handling. The ARC break, L1C, you know, bypass charge, find out what
It's not doing ethics.
It didn't clean up their out ethics.
Right.
It didn't clean it up. So it's difficult to maintain case gain when you have this continuous out ethics, because it comes from counter intention from your own universe. Yes,
Right.
I want to be better, but it's too much fun being bad. You know, something like that. And they can't sort of connect with their basic nature as very easily. They go out of agreement. So I got them put back together again, and then I sent them back. And also during that time that I was B of I, Board of Investigations on me, and all this stuff was going on to stop me, the Volunteer Minister's Handbook came out and saved me. Because the Volunteer Minister's Handbook said anybody can do ethics on anybody, anytime. Also, L. Ron Hubbard told me and the rest of us on the Class 8 course, a Class 8 can go anywhere on the planet and put ethics in anytime. He said that broadly. So I was using that as a stable datum as well. They were trying to get me in, you know, to stop. And so they had a board of investigation, and the GO was in on it, and all kinds of stuff.
Well, you know, that's typical. It's typical of them just assuming, oh, well, she's out in the field doing this. It's got to be squirrel. It's got to be out tech and this and that, rather than actually finding out, talking to you, finding out what's going on, and being able to make a sane decision about this, you know?
Yeah, well, every time they brought up something that was so-called squirrel, I would give them the tech reference on it.
Right,
well,
right.
What LRH said to
so this program was very successful for you, and I take it, you, like you said, you still use it to this day, right?
Yes, I do. I do.
And it helps to get them back on to their spiritual
quest
it
also
freedom or whatever,
enhances their case gain, because they don't have sort of reluctant case gain in areas that they don't want to confront.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, Mary, I can see too where you've got someone who maybe is doing drugs every day, and you do an ethics handling on them and point out that that's not helping them, and they have that realization and they stop doing it. So right there, they've improved their life just from that one step that you have done with them.
Exactly, exactly. Oh, there's a lot of little games and sneaky things people do. You know, they cheat, or they go gambling or doing something stupid,
right?
And then they don't.
They're gambling the rent money away or whatever, and they can't, you know, they can't pay their bills because they were gambling all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's that, and then they have that secret or that withhold that they didn't,
from their wife or their family.
That's right. Yeah, it gets them in trouble. And also, I've even had people that have compulsions to help people that are quote unquote helpless, that can't help themselves. So they contribute all their extra money to somebody that's just going to flush it down the toilet anyway. So I have to get them to see what they're contributing to. Are they really helping that other person? You know, what is the outcome here? So it's
well, exactly. They're making it worse.
Well, exactly too. And I was just going to say, and when you pointed out to them too, in honesty, they want to be found out. Do you know what I mean? Because they want to change their condition for the better. They want to stop. Inside their head, they're going, I shouldn't be doing this, but they have a compulsion to keep doing it. You know what I mean? And so what the idea is, you want to get them to stop, and then you handle why they're doing it, right?
Exactly. Well, I won't. Yeah. I mean, if it's very destructive, I will not give them any time. You know, if they're busily undoing everything that I'm doing with them in session or even in ethics, they have to put it on hold. You know, put that on hold. Keep it on the shelf, whatever you want to do, but don't do it while don't take any drugs while we're working together. Don't sell
I was just going to bring that up. I was just going to bring that up. Drugs is a big deal, right? I mean, and I watch shows and stuff where people are, you know, dramas or whatever, where they're addicted and they keep doing drugs, and it never gets handled with them. And I see this all the time, and it's kind of like, you know, whatever people think about Hubbard or whatever, what his handling for drugs wasn't just sweating it out in a sauna, right? It was like getting you to confront the situation of what you were doing. First of all, stop because it's harming you, right? But then he would, or you, or as an auditor, would go in and actually handle the reason why they were doing it in the first place. Because people don't just start doing drugs. They don't just start doing that. They go like, ooh, I'm going to start doing these drugs. There's a reason why they did it. And what people need to understand is that that's what Scientology auditing does. It looks for the reason and gets you to, look at that reason and make it go away so that you then don't have the compulsion anymore to do drugs or to do whatever that out ethics behavior is. And this is a great explanation of it, because I get people all the time going like, well, yeah, the Scientology, they don't really cure people from drugs.
Yeah, well, it's a solution to a present time problem, and that's how it started.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Something
but
that
they don't think,
something they want to go away from. Yeah.
But there are some who think, there are some people though that think it hasn't changed them and it does nothing for them. But from the outside looking in at them, you can see it's changed them.
Yeah, well, they think it's changed. They may think it's changed them because it numbs them and they don't feel the pain. They don't feel the anguish. They don't feel.
One of the things I learned, though, and in Scientology, when I was young, when I was a teenager, the whole thing about the Black Panther in front of you, what are you going to do? Are you going to confront it? Are you going to go around it? Are you going to run away from it? What are you going to do? And Hubbard's statement was always, the way out is the way through. You have to confront it, because going around it and avoiding it, you're the effect of that. You're not at cause over that. Whatever it is, whatever the problem is, it could be anything, problem at work or whatever. It's like, figure it out and go through. And that's kind of the way we've led our lives,
Yes. Complexity is directly proportional to the degree of non-confront. And that's a direct quote from Ron. But it starts quite often in early childhood where they don't have the resources to find a way to confront and deal with it. They are under the orders of the people that have the authority, probably mostly their parents, or it could be a teacher, or it could be an opinion leader. But mostly as a child, they don't have that ability to evaluate the situation exactly. And even if they can evaluate it, they can't do anything about it. They can't say, you're wrong because A, B, C, and D, and that makes no sense, and it's not logical, and it's not helping. They just get slapped in the face. So, unfortunately, people have trauma all the way back, and that causes long-lasting problems. Long-lasting.
And I'm just thinking about this too, because I see alcohol, AA meetings or Narcotics Anonymous, all these things where they basically get people talking, which is good, about their drug abuse or their drinking or this and that. But the problem, they have a high relapse rate, right? And what Scientology, what Hubbard was trying to do was handle that compulsion. You know what I mean? Because the reason they relapse is because they still have that feeling like, I want to do it again. I want to do it again. I want to do whatever. And so the idea was to erase the reason why you wanted to do it again and put you on the path of doing the right thing. Am I right?
Yeah, they still have the problem. It didn't get solved. The problem that they were solving with that activity that is counter survival to their survival did not get handled, did not get addressed even. Didn't get addressed. And maybe it couldn't be addressed because they were too little to even know that they had that problem. Right. They had to get approval. They had to get love. They had to get not in trouble all the time. So they turned into something that they thought was like the bully in the schoolyard. The only way you can really beat a bully in the schoolyard is to become another bully and beat that one up. So you grow up as a bully. Well, la-di-da, the solution has now become the next problem.
You're right.
And that's the same thing with drugs, addictions, and other things, promiscuity and insanity. That all these things become the next problem. The solution isn't solving the original problem, it's becoming the next problem.
Yeah.
And the only reason some celebrities or people that are very wealthy get good results is because they want to keep them. So the money is a huge motivation. It's very unfortunate. That's not going anywhere as far as the purpose line of the subject is concerned.
So anyone who's watching this who does have an out ethics situation going on that they're just not confronting and putting to the side, or they're continuing, or they have the secret now that they're on Tinder or whatever, then you guys contact Mary. Mary will put you with someone she's trained, or she'll help you herself.
That's right. Right, Mary?
Yeah, and it's a fun ride. It really is fun. The main condition that has to be handled on all the ethics conditions from the bottom to the top, the main one is enemy. That is the one that gets in the way, because liability has the color of the enemy. Doubt has the question of, well, which way should I go? Which side should I be on? Enemy is enemy, of course, being your own opponent. Treason is succumbing. Treason is succumbing to that and betraying. So even danger is even fighting long-term habits, people that get caught up in long-term ways of screwing up. So you have to bypass that as step one of danger. So it's still the enemy condition that's sort of putting its talons out through all the other conditions.
Yeah. Anyway, Mary, is there a way that people can contact you if they're interested in getting help from you?
Maren at outlook.com.
Great. I will post that
Simple.
on the video as well. Maren at outlook.com. Great. Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you, Mary, for going over this program with us. It's been great having you here again. We want to say happy 250th anniversary, of course, to the United States. But before we go, one of the things that can help anybody with their health is Janis's OUTBACK Naturals Complete Liquid Multivitamins. You get all the vitamins you need in a little shot glass or 2 tablespoons, peach flavored. You put it in the refrigerator, chill it, take it down. Don't have to swallow a handful of pills. And it's really great. You can order that down below from our merchandise store. So you can order it there, or they can go to vites.com, right, Janis?
Right. And all you have to do is just make that decision that you want to get healthy and take care of yourself. That's all it takes. Right. You don't have to go to Mary for that. You just have to make that decision.
Yeah.
That's right. And then the other product Janis has is her magnesium complex. Janis, tell people about this product.
Yeah, this has got 8 different magnesiums in it. It does not have oxide, because oxide is not a great magnesium, but you'll find that in other products. But this has got 8 different magnesiums. And though, I do have another product called Koala Calm. It calms, something that my father has developed many years ago, and a lot of people take Calm. And you don't have to heat up the hot water or anything. There is no flavor to it, and you just take it with any drink. But it does a lot more than any Calm product of just magnesium.
That's great. And so again, you can order magnesium complex or the complete liquid multivitamins down in our merchandise store. Go in the video description. There's a link to our store. You can order it. Janis will send it out anywhere in the United States, right, Janis?
Yes, and this one helps you sleep better. If you get leg cramps, I had someone call me the other day. They get leg cramps at nighttime. I told them, take this and also take some vitamin B1 and some potassium, and, it should help.
Yes, that's excellent. That is such a good, it looks like it's got everything right there. You don't have to go and buy 10 different things to try to balance it out.
It does. And it's a powder. So, people who get older, they have trouble swallowing pills, and that's the same as with the liquid vitamin. It's so much easier to take, and you don't choke or on the pills going down.
That's right.
Great.
Anyway, those are great products.
Thank you.
The other thing I want to mention, please subscribe to our channel. Hit that like button, hit that notification button.
Rock slam.
Rock slam those things. And the reason is it helps get the message out to other people. You know what I mean? The algorithm watches to see it and see who's watching and all that, and they push our videos out. So we want to get our message out. It helps us if you go ahead and subscribe. And also, if you want to see lots of different interviews, like our great one here with Mary. We've interviewed over 400 interviews on our channel in 3 years, and I have them in playlists, so you can actually go back and learn the history of Scientology or learn the stories of abuse. They're all there, and they're easy to find, and we think you'll enjoy them. I know a lot of people already do, right, Janis?
Yeah, and Mary, what's this, our 5th one with you or 6th interview? Sixth. Yeah.
Wow.
So if you like Mary, you go back and watch all the interviews we've done with her. They've been fun and very informative.
Yeah, and they're on a playlist, and they're in chronological order, so you can watch them go one to the next to the next.
That's so great. Thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. I think it's one of the best things that anybody's done as a debrief, a gigantic debrief on this adventure that we've been on. It really is great. Thank you. And
you're welcome.
Come back anytime, talk about anything.
The other thing I want to mention, if you have any questions or comments about what we talked about, or any questions for comments from Mary, go down below in the comment section. We look forward to them. We read them, and Mary does as well. And we welcome your opinions or your comments. And then finally, if you'd like to support the channel, in the video description box below, there's a link to buy me a coffee, and it helps support the channel. It helps pay for, there's some minor expenses that we have to pay to put these things on. And we just use the money to do that. Janis and I are definitely not getting rich doing this by any way, shape, or form.
No.
We do it with love. We do it for the love and for the, to get the info out there.
Yes, and that's very important. That's a big difference, the way you present this whole thing. It's the only one that I've come across that has that much of positive intention and postulates behind it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
All right, everybody. It's been a great show. Mary, thank you very much. Until next time, everybody, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Happy Independence Day.
That's it.
Yes.
America 250.
Yes.